What if the secret to unlimited success wasn't talent or luck, but the ability to learn faster than anyone else? This audiobook reveals the hidden formula the top 1% use to stay ahead. Master this, and you'll never fall behind again. The future belongs to those who keep learning. Introduction. Imagine this. Two people start at the exact same point in life. They go to the same school, graduate with the same degree, and land similar jobs. At first, they seem equal, both ambitious, both talented. But then something strange happens. One of them rises to the top, achieving success beyond imagination, breaking financial barriers, mastering new skills, and continuously adapting to new opportunities. The other stagnates, stays in the same position for years, fights the same battles, feels like they're working just as hard, but somehow keeps falling behind. What changed? It wasn't talent, it wasn't luck, it wasn't some hidden advantage that one had over the other. The difference was this: one person kept learning while the other stopped. This is the brutal truth most people refuse to accept. The second you stop learning, you start losing. The moment you believe you've made it and no longer need to grow, the world starts passing you by. Knowledge isn't static. It's either expanding or shrinking. And the people who recognize this truth, they are the ones who will always be in control of their future. They are the ones who will never fall behind. If you've ever felt like you're stuck, like you're working hard but not seeing results, like opportunities seem to pass you by while others get ahead, it's not because you're not capable. It's because the world rewards those who commit to lifelong learning and punishes those who stop. And here's the worst part. Most people don't even realize they've stopped. They graduate, get a job, and go on autopilot, assuming that what they already know is enough. But it never is. The world moves too fast, industries change too quickly, and new knowledge is created every single day. If you aren't constantly feeding your mind, upgrading your skills, and staying ahead of the curve, you are silently falling behind, and by the time you realize it, it's already too late. But the good news? You don't have to be one of those people. The fact that you're here, listening to this audiobook, already puts you ahead of the masses. You've made a decision that most people never make. You've decided to take control of your own growth, and that decision alone has the power to change the entire trajectory of your life, because education isn't something you complete. It's something you live. Why education is a lifelong process. Think about the greatest minds, the most successful people, the ones who always seem to be ahead of everyone else. What do they all have in common? It's not just that they worked hard. It's that they never stopped learning. The most dangerous mindset you can have in today's world is the belief that education ends when you graduate, that once you've been trained for a job, you can stop growing, that you already know enough to succeed. Because here's the truth. The world doesn't care about what you learned 5 years ago. It cares about what you know today. Every industry is evolving. Skills that were valuable a decade ago are now obsolete. Companies are automating, outsourcing, and replacing people who refuse to adapt. The only way to guarantee long-term success is to keep upgrading yourself, constantly, deliberately, and aggressively. And yet, the majority of people never do this. They don't read. They don't invest in new skills. They don't challenge their own thinking. They go through life believing that experience alone will carry them forward, when in reality, experience without growth is just repetition. Meanwhile, the top 1%, the ones who dominate their fields, who stay in demand no matter how much the world changes, they treat education as a daily habit. They understand that success is not about what you already know. It's about how fast you can learn. And that's why they always win. The power of daily learning. Why 10 minutes a day can change your life. Most people think they need a degree, a certificate, or years of study to stay ahead. But the truth is, it's the small daily habits that make the biggest difference. Learning is like investing. The earlier you start and the more consistent you are, the more powerful the results. Imagine two people. One person stops learning after college. They work the same job, do the same tasks, and rely on the same knowledge they gained years ago. The other spends just 10 minutes a day reading, listening to audiobooks, or studying something new. Fast forward 5 years. One of them has grown exponentially, gained new skills, and unlocked opportunities they never thought possible. The other, stuck in the same place, wondering why they aren't moving forward. That's the power of daily learning. You don't need to spend hours studying every day. You just need to make it a habit. The key is consistency. The most successful people in the world don't learn when they feel like it. They make learning a non-negotiable part of their routine because they know something most people don't. The best opportunities don't go to the hardest workers. They go to the smartest learners. How this audiobook will keep you ahead of 99% of people. This audiobook isn't just about motivation. It's about strategy. It's about giving you the exact tools you need to become the kind of person who never falls behind, no matter what changes in the world. Each chapter is designed to be practical, actionable, and immediately useful. No fluff, no complicated theories, just real tested strategies that work. By the end of this audiobook, you won't just understand why lifelong learning is important. You will have the exact blueprint to make it a part of your life, permanently. The hidden secret of the world's most successful people. Still not convinced? Look at the world's greatest achievers, entrepreneurs, investors, athletes, artists. They all have different talents, different skills, different industries. But there's one thing they all have in common. They never stopped learning. Elon Musk built companies in multiple industries, not because he started as an expert, but because he taught himself everything he needed to know. Warren Buffett reads for hours every single day because he knows that knowledge compounds like interest. Oprah Winfrey credits her success to her relentless pursuit of learning. Kobe Bryant studied the game obsessively, always finding new ways to improve, even at the height of his career. If they need to keep learning, why would you ever stop? Your choice. Fall behind or stay ahead. Right now, you have two options. You can be like most people, coasting through life, relying on outdated knowledge, watching as others surpass you. Or you can be like the top 1%, committing to daily growth, constantly expanding your mind, and ensuring that you never fall behind. This audiobook is going to show you how. The only question is, are you ready to use it? Chapter 1. The Mindset of Lifelong Learning. There is a reason why some people seem to excel in every area of life, while others remain stuck in the same cycle for years. It's not luck, it's not intelligence, it's not even opportunity. The real difference? How they think about learning. Most people believe that education ends when they receive a diploma, as if knowledge has an expiration date. They celebrate the end of school as if they've just completed a lifelong journey. But the reality is, that's where real education begins. If you stop learning the moment you step out of formal education, you're already falling behind. And the worst part? You don't even realize it until it's too late. Think about it. The world is changing at a pace we've never seen before. New technologies are emerging, industries are evolving, and skills that were once valuable are becoming obsolete overnight. If you're not constantly updating your knowledge, sharpening your skills, and expanding your mind, you're unknowingly digging yourself into a hole that gets deeper with each passing day. While you stay the same, the world moves on, leaving you behind. And this is where the 1% pull ahead. They don't just accept change, they thrive in it. They see learning not as a requirement, but as a privilege, an opportunity, and most importantly, a lifelong commitment. This chapter is about reshaping your mindset. It's about breaking free from the outdated belief that learning is something you do in school and realizing that education is a never-ending process. It's about understanding that the most successful people aren't the ones who know the most. They're the ones who are constantly learning. If you can adopt this mindset, you will separate yourself from 99% of people. You will become adaptable, resourceful, and always a step ahead. So, the question is, are you ready to break free from the herd and think like the 1%? Let's begin. 1. Fixed versus growth mindset, the battle that defines your future. What if I told you that your entire life, your success, your failures, your opportunities, can be traced back to one simple thing? How you think about intelligence and ability. This isn't some motivational cliche. It's backed by science. Psychologist Carol Dweck discovered that people operate under one of two belief systems, a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. People with a fixed mindset believe that intelligence, skills, and abilities are set in stone. They think, I'm either good at something or I'm not, or I've never been a math person, so I won't even try. When they fail, they see it as proof that they weren't meant for something, rather than an opportunity to grow. They avoid challenges because they don't want to look stupid, and as a result, they stay exactly where they are, year after year. On the other hand, people with a growth mindset see failure as feedback, challenges as opportunities, and effort as the key to improvement. They understand that skills are developed through practice, intelligence can be expanded, and mastery comes from persistence. They ask themselves, how can I get better? Instead of, am I good enough? And that small shift in thinking is what allows them to evolve continuously while others remain stuck. If you want to be ahead of 99% of people, you must develop a growth mindset, because nothing will serve you more in the long run. Every time you find yourself thinking, I'm just not good at this, add the word yet to the end of the sentence. I'm not good at this yet. That small change will rewire your brain to see learning as a process rather than a limitation. 2. Embracing curiosity as a superpower. Take a moment and think about the most successful people in the world. The Elon Musks, the Warren Buffetts, the Steve Jobs of the world. What do they all have in common? It's not just intelligence. It's not just work ethic. It's curiosity. Curiosity is what drives people to ask, why, and what if, instead of just accepting things as they are. It's what makes someone read a book when others are scrolling on their phones. It's what pushes someone to experiment, to explore, to question the status quo. And the most successful people in the world never stop being curious. Yet, most people lose their curiosity as they grow older. As children, we ask thousands of questions a day. But somewhere along the way, society teaches us that asking too many questions is annoying, that not knowing something is embarrassing, and that it's better to stay in our lane. This is a trap. The people who move ahead in life are the ones who never stop asking questions, never stop being fascinated by new ideas, and never stop exploring knowledge. So here's a challenge. Start questioning everything. When you hear a fact, ask yourself, how do I know this is true? When you see someone doing something impressive, don't assume they're just naturally talented. Ask, how did they get there? When someone tells you something is impossible, don't accept it. Ask, is it really? The more you embrace curiosity, the more doors will open for you. 3. Overcoming the fear of failure, the hidden blocker of growth. Most people don't fail because they aren't capable. They fail because they're too afraid to try. The fear of failure is what stops people from learning a new skill, from asking a question, from trying something different. They don't want to look stupid. They don't want to be embarrassed. And as a result, they remain stagnant. Here's the truth. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is the process of success. Every expert was once a beginner. Every master was once terrible at their craft. The difference is that they kept going. They saw failure not as a reason to quit, but as a stepping stone toward mastery. The moment you stop fearing failure, you become unstoppable. You start taking risks. You start learning faster. You start growing in ways you never imagined. So, the next time you fail at something, instead of thinking, "I'm terrible at this," ask yourself, "What did this teach me?" Because if you learn from your mistakes, they're no longer failures, they're lessons. The role of self-discipline in learning. If there's one thing that separates lifelong learners from the rest, it's self-discipline. Most people learn only when they feel like it. They wait for motivation to strike. But the ones who succeed make learning a daily habit, even when they don't feel like it. Self-discipline is what makes someone read 10 pages a day instead of scrolling social media. It's what makes someone take an online course instead of watching TV. It's what separates those who wish they were smarter from those who actually become smarter. Here's the secret. Motivation fades, but habits last. If you want to stay ahead, make learning a non-negotiable part of your day. Even 20 minutes of focused learning every day can put you in the top 1% over time. If you take away one thing from this chapter, let it be this. The most powerful thing you can do is commit to never stopping your education. The moment you think you know enough is the moment you start falling behind. Stay curious, embrace failure, and make learning a lifelong habit. Because while 99% of people will stop learning after school, the 1% who keep learning will own the future. Will you be one of them? Chapter 2. The Power of Reading in Books. Imagine if you could access the greatest minds in history, the most revolutionary thinkers, the most successful entrepreneurs, all without leaving your home. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, it's not. It's the power of books. Every day, people across the world are discovering the next big breakthrough in personal growth, science, business, and philosophy, all from the pages of books. While most people scroll endlessly through social media or binge-watch TV shows, a small group of people has figured out a hidden truth that gives them an edge. They read. They read more than most. They read smarter, and they read to grow. But here's the kicker. You don't need a degree, a special connection, or a secret formula. All you need is the habit of reading consistently and thoughtfully. And you'll be ahead of 99% of people who believe that knowledge can only be gained through formal education or expensive experiences. This chapter is going to unlock the life-changing magic of reading and why it's one of the most underutilized yet most powerful tools for success. But it's more than just reading for the sake of reading. It's about reading with intention, absorbing knowledge, and applying what you learn to elevate your life in ways you can't even imagine right now. If you've ever wondered how the successful stay ahead, how entrepreneurs innovate, or how leaders keep growing, it all starts with reading. And if you commit to mastering this habit, you'll be tapping into the greatest secret weapon there is. Let's dive into why reading isn't just important, it's a game changer, and how, by understanding and embracing it, you'll stand out from the crowd, break through the noise, and become unstoppable. 1. Why the most successful people read daily. Have you ever wondered why some of the wealthiest, most successful people in the world, like Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, and Elon Musk, seem to be always reading? It's not just a pastime for them. It's their secret sauce for continuous growth. They read because they know that knowledge is power, and more specifically, knowledge is wealth. In fact, Warren Buffett has said that reading is the best investment you can make in yourself. He dedicates nearly 80% of his day to reading. Bill Gates reads about 50 books a year, and Elon Musk reportedly learned how to build rockets by reading books. These people don't just read for entertainment. They read to gain insights, expand their thinking, and stay ahead of the curve. The thing is, most people dismiss reading because they think they don't have the time or they can't fit it into their already busy lives. But successful people have mastered a key principle. Small, consistent habits compound over time. It's not about reading a book a day, but about consistently integrating reading into your routine. Whether it's reading a few pages in the morning, listening to audiobooks while commuting, or setting aside 20 minutes before bed. Here's a thought. What if you could gain the wisdom of the best minds in history without leaving your house, without spending thousands of dollars on courses, without needing to wait for a mentor? What if the most powerful insights for success were just a book away? Because they are. The moment you make reading a habit, you are opening the door to unlimited possibilities. Second, fiction versus nonfiction. What to read and why now? That we've established that reading is essential, you might be wondering, what should I be reading? The truth is, there's no one-size-fits-all answer, and that's a good thing. The world of books is vast, and depending on where you are in life, your goals and your interests, different types of books will serve you in different ways. Let's start with nonfiction books. These are the books that can directly teach you something, whether it's about business, personal development, psychology, history, or a skill like coding. Nonfiction books are great for practical knowledge and actionable strategies. They give you the tools you need to solve problems, make better decisions, and improve your life. Think of them as your personal blueprint for success. But don't underestimate the value of fiction either. Fiction has an unparalleled power to shape your imagination, help you understand human nature, and even improve your empathy. When you read a well-written novel, you are stepping into the lives of other people, experiencing their thoughts, emotions, and struggles. Fiction opens up new worlds and perspectives, expanding your mind and emotional intelligence in ways that nonfiction can't. So how do you decide what to read? Balance is key. Nonfiction is where you'll gather knowledge and practical insights, while fiction will help you develop creativity, emotional depth, and the ability to think outside the box. The most well-rounded readers often dive into both. 3. Speed reading and retention techniques. Read smarter, not harder. One of the biggest challenges people face when it comes to reading is time. Let's face it, life is busy. You have work, family, social obligations, and other responsibilities. So, how can you read more without feeling overwhelmed? The secret lies in reading smarter, not harder. Enter the world of speed reading. Speed reading isn't just about reading faster. It's about being more efficient with your time and comprehension. With the right techniques, you can read faster while retaining more information. Speed reading involves methods like skimming, chunking, and reducing sub-vocalization. That little voice in your head that says every word as you read. By practicing speed reading techniques, you can consume books at a faster pace and absorb more material in less time. But speed reading alone isn't enough. Retention is key. If you're reading 5 books a week, but forgetting everything by the time you finish the next one, what's the point? The goal isn't just to read more. It's to read and retain what you've learned. The best way to improve retention is to actively engage with the material. Take notes. Highlight key points. Teach what you've learned to someone else. Doing so will help you internalize the knowledge and make it easier to recall when you need it. The best books for personal growth. Investing in yourself. You may already know that reading is important, but the next question is, what should you read to ensure your growth? There are countless books out there, but not all of them will move the needle in the way you want them to. So, how do you choose books that will truly change your life? Start with books on personal development. Books like Atomic Habits by James Clear, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey are timeless classics that teach you how to improve your habits, mindset, and daily routines. These books will lay the foundation for long-term growth. Next, read books on business and entrepreneurship. Titles like The Lean Startup by Eric Ries and The Hard Thing About Hard Things by Ben Horowitz offer invaluable insights into building and running a successful business. They teach you how to navigate challenges, make difficult decisions, and stay focused on your goals. Don't forget books that enhance your emotional intelligence and communication skills. Books like How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie and Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman will help you build relationships, understand others, and communicate more effectively. These skills are crucial in every area of life, from your personal relationships to your professional endeavors. The key is to invest in books that will challenge your thinking, push you to grow, and help you become the best version of yourself. When you read with intention, you transform your mind and your life. 5. Building a reading habit. That lasts reading isn't just a hobby, it's a way of life. So, how do you make it a regular part of your routine? The key is consistency. The most successful readers don't read for hours every day. They simply read every day. Whether it's 20 minutes in the morning or 30 minutes before bed, setting aside time to read daily will help you form a lasting habit. Start small. Commit to reading for just 10 to 15 minutes a day and gradually increase it as you get more comfortable. Another important tip is to make reading enjoyable. If you don't enjoy what you're reading, it will feel like a chore. Choose books that fascinate you, that challenge you, that excite you. If you're not sure where to start, pick up a book that aligns with your interests or passions. You'll find yourself wanting to read more, and before you know it, you'll have built a lasting reading habit. Finally, track your progress. Keep a log of the books you've read and celebrate small victories. Whether it's finishing a chapter, finishing a book, or reaching a milestone, take pride in your journey as a reader. Reading is more than just an activity. It's a lifestyle, a pathway to personal growth, and a key to unlocking your full potential. If you're serious about staying ahead of 99% of people, reading should be at the core of your daily routine. Books hold the power to change your life, and the more you read, the more you'll grow, the more opportunities you'll create, and the more you'll thrive. So, the next time you have a few free minutes, instead of scrolling through your phone or watching TV, open a book. It's the small, consistent steps that will take you from where you are now to where you've always wanted to be. Ready to turn the page? Your future self will thank you. Chapter 3. The Power of Consistency and Small Daily Habits. Have you ever wondered why it seems like you're working so hard, putting in hours of effort, yet you're still not seeing the results you expect? You're doing everything right, or at least you think you are. You've set big goals. You've got a plan. You're motivated, at least most of the time. Yet, day after day, week after week, progress feels like it's crawling. The problem lies in one simple yet powerful concept that almost everyone overlooks: consistency. While most people think that success comes from bursts of motivation or grand heroic efforts, the real secret to achieving anything meaningful is small, daily actions performed consistently over time. That's the game changer. It's easy to get caught up in the allure of dramatic transformations or big wins, especially in the age of social media, where everyone seems to be sharing their huge breakthroughs. But the truth is, lasting success isn't built on those rare moments of inspiration. It's built on the small, seemingly insignificant actions you take each day. Those daily choices compound over time and create results you could never have imagined. This chapter is all about understanding the immense power of consistency and small habits. Because once you truly grasp this concept and implement it, you'll realize that the key to success was always within your reach. It just wasn't as glamorous or instant as you may have thought. But make no mistake, small daily habits have the power to change your life. 1. The myth of overnight success. We've all heard stories about people who seem to have achieved success overnight, whether it's the entrepreneur who suddenly strikes it rich, the athlete who becomes a champion seemingly without effort, or the social media influencer who skyrockets to fame. The media loves to glorify these stories, showing us the glitz, the glamour, the end result. But what they don't show you is the years of work, the countless failures, the hours of sacrifice, and, most importantly, the consistency behind the scenes that made these overnight successes possible. The truth is, there's no such thing as an overnight success. Every success story you hear is built on years of persistence, dedication, and small daily actions. The real magic happens in the hidden hours, when no one is watching, when there are no applause, when it's just you and your commitment to the process. This is where the power of consistency lies. We live in a world where we want immediate results. We're told that if we work hard, we should see the fruits of our labor quickly. But here's the thing, success doesn't work that way. The most successful people understand that real achievement takes time, and they've learned to trust the process. If you've ever felt frustrated because your progress isn't immediate, take a step back and think about the bigger picture. If you're doing the right things consistently, the results will come. It just takes patience and trust. The power of small habits, why they matter more than big goals. It's easy to get obsessed with big goals. We all want to dream big, shoot for the stars, and envision ourselves at the top of the mountain. But there's a flaw in this mindset. Big goals can overwhelm you. They often seem so far out of reach that you might not even know where to start. That's where small habits come into play. Think of small habits as the building blocks of your future success. Small, consistent actions done daily may seem insignificant in the moment. They might even seem trivial. You might ask yourself, what's the point of writing 100 words a day? Does it even matter? The answer is a resounding yes. Here's why. Small habits compound over time. They might not seem like much at first, but if you stay consistent, they build momentum. One small action every day creates exponential results. The key is to start small, build momentum, and stay consistent. The beauty of small habits is that they don't require a huge time investment or a massive burst of motivation. They are sustainable and realistic. Over time, you'll realize that these tiny, everyday actions add up to something extraordinary. For example, if you were to read just 10 pages of a book every day, that might seem like a minimal effort. But in just 1 month, you would have read 300 pages. In a year, that would add up to over 3,600 pages, the equivalent of several books. Now imagine if you applied this to other areas of your life, whether it's fitness, learning a new skill, or personal growth. The results will astound you. Small habits aren't about doing something big right away. They're about making progress step by step. The compound effect is real, and it's working in the background every single day. 3. How to build a habit that lasts. Building a new habit isn't easy, but it's simpler than most people think. The secret is understanding that habits are built in the small moments. The more consistent you are, the easier it becomes. But like any new skill, it requires effort and patience in the beginning. Here's how you can build a habit that sticks. 1. Start small. Don't overwhelm yourself with huge goals right away. Focus on one tiny action you can do every single day. It could be as simple as reading for 10 minutes or going for a 5-minute walk. 2. Set a specific time and place. To make the habit stick, you need to set aside a specific time and place. This creates a routine and signals your brain that this is something important. 3. Be consistent. The key to building a lasting habit is consistency. The more often you repeat the action, the stronger the neural connections in your brain become. Eventually, the habit will become automatic. 4. Track your progress. Use a habit tracker, journal, or calendar to track your daily progress. This simple act reinforces the habit and makes it easier to stay on track. 5. Be patient. Habits take time to build. Don't expect immediate results. Focus on the process, not just the outcome. Celebrate your consistency, even if the results are slow to come. 6. Reward yourself. Every time you complete your habit, give yourself a small reward. This reinforces the behavior and motivates you to keep going. Building a new habit might feel challenging at first, but once you push through the initial discomfort, it becomes easier. Over time, these small actions will accumulate into monumental change. 4. Why willpower is overrated and what you should rely on instead. Most people think that achieving success requires sheer willpower, the ability to push through difficult moments, stay strong in the face of temptation, and never give up. While willpower can certainly help in the short term, it's not the key to long-term success. In fact, willpower is highly overrated. Here's why. Willpower is a finite resource. The more you rely on it, the more depleted it becomes. By the end of the day, after making countless decisions, your willpower is likely exhausted, and that's when you start making mistakes or slipping into bad habits. So, what's the secret to success if not willpower? Systems. The most successful people rely on systems to achieve their goals, not willpower. Systems are daily routines, structures, and habits that make the right actions easier and automatic. By putting these systems in place, you reduce the need for constant decision-making and willpower. For example, let's say you want to get fit. Rather than relying on sheer willpower to exercise every day, create a system. Schedule your workouts at the same time every day. Prepare your gym bag the night before. And commit to going even when you don't feel like it. Eventually, the system will take over, and you won't need to use willpower to push yourself anymore. The compound effect. How small actions lead to big results. The compound effect is the principle that small, consistent actions over time will result in enormous growth. This is the cornerstone of personal development and one of the most powerful concepts you can grasp. Consider this example. If you improve yourself by just 1% every day, you might think it's negligible at first, but after 1 year, that 1% improvement will compound, resulting in a 37 times improvement in your life. That's the power of the compound effect. It's not about huge leaps. It's about small, consistent actions that accumulate over time. The same principle applies to every area of life, whether it's building a business, learning a new skill, or improving your health. If you consistently make small improvements, you'll eventually reach levels that most people can only dream of. The road to success is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And the secret to winning that marathon isn't about taking big, bold steps every day. It's about taking small, consistent steps, day after day. The habits you build today will shape your future in ways you can't yet comprehend. If you want to stand out from the 99% of people who get lost in the noise, start small. Focus on building daily habits that align with your goals. Trust in the process. Stay consistent. And know that your success is not defined by the speed at which you go, but by the momentum you build along the way. Remember, success isn't about having a big burst of motivation one day. It's about showing up every single day, even when you don't feel like it. The power of consistency will carry you further than any single moment of inspiration ever could. Chapter 4. The hidden power of focus. How to cut through the noise and achieve anything. Have you ever felt like you're working tirelessly, but barely making progress? You start your day with big ambitions, only to find yourself distracted by endless notifications, emails, and the latest social media updates. Before you know it, hours have passed, and you've barely made a dent in what you plan to accomplish. Frustrating, isn't it? You're not alone. The modern world is designed to steal your attention. Every app, every social media platform, every email notification is a carefully engineered distraction meant to keep you hooked. Companies spend billions of dollars hiring the brightest minds in psychology and neuroscience to make sure you keep scrolling, keep clicking, and keep consuming. And while you might think you're in control, the truth is that your focus is under constant attack. But here's the hard truth. You can't achieve anything meaningful if you don't learn to control your focus. The most successful people in the world aren't necessarily the smartest or the most talented. They're simply the ones who have mastered the ability to focus on what truly matters. While most people are busy multitasking, chasing distractions, and reacting to every little thing that pops up. High achievers operate on a different level. They understand that deep, undisturbed focus is their superpower. If you feel like you're constantly spinning your wheels, if you find yourself getting distracted more than you'd like, if you know you have the potential for more but can't seem to get traction, this chapter will change everything. You're about to discover how to reclaim your focus, eliminate distractions, and finally, get results. 1. The truth about multitasking. Why it's killing your productivity. For years, we've been fed the lie that multitasking is a skill to be admired. Job descriptions proudly list ability to multitask as a requirement, and people love to boast about how they can juggle multiple things at once. But here's what the science actually says. Multitasking is a productivity killer. Your brain isn't wired to focus on multiple things simultaneously. What you're actually doing when you multitask is rapidly switching between tasks, and each time you do, there's a mental cost. Studies show that switching between tasks can reduce productivity by up to 40%. Even worse, frequent multitasking lowers your IQ, increases stress, and decreases your ability to think deeply. Think about the last time you were working on something important and your phone buzzed with a new notification. Even if you didn't open it right away, your mind was momentarily pulled away. It takes 23 minutes and 15 seconds to fully regain your focus after a distraction. Now multiply that by the dozens of times you get interrupted each day. It's no wonder most people feel like they're constantly busy, but never truly productive. If you want to be in the top 1% of high achievers, you must train yourself to single task. Focus on one thing at a time with full attention. When you do this, you'll accomplish more in 1 hour of deep work than most people do in an entire day of scattered, distracted effort. 2. The hidden enemy. Digital distractions and how they're stealing your life. Your phone is one of the most powerful tools ever created, but it's also one of the most dangerous. Social media, emails, and endless notifications are designed to hijack your attention. The more time you spend reacting to distractions, the less time you have for meaningful work. Here's a shocking fact. The average person checks their phone over 150 times a day. That means you're pulling your attention away from important tasks dozens of times every single hour. And once your attention is fragmented, it's nearly impossible to do deep, meaningful work. But it's not just phones. Open tabs, constant email pings, and even background TV noise all contribute to attention fragmentation. The result? You're always busy, but rarely productive. You feel mentally exhausted at the end of the day, but you've accomplished very little. The solution? Create a distraction-free environment. Turn off notifications. Your phone doesn't need to buzz every time someone likes your photo. Disable all non-essential notifications. Use the Do Not Disturb mode. When working on deep tasks, put your phone in airplane mode or enable Do Not Disturb. Set specific times for checking emails and messages. Instead of reacting all day, designate set times for communication. Work in focused blocks of time. Use the Pomodoro technique. Work for 50 minutes, then take a 10-minute break. This keeps your brain focused and prevents burnout. By controlling your digital environment, You reclaim hours of lost focus every day, and those hours, they add up to a lifetime of success. 3. The science of deep work: how to enter a state of unstoppable focus. There's a reason why some people can write best-selling books, build multi-million-dollar businesses, and master complex skills in record time. They've mastered the art of deep work. Deep work is the ability to focus without distraction for an extended period. It's when your mind is operating at full capacity, solving problems, creating, and making breakthroughs. This level of focus is where your best work happens. But deep work isn't something that just happens. You have to train for it. To enter deep work: 1. Eliminate distractions before you start. Find a quiet place, turn off notifications, and prepare your workspace. 2. Use a focus ritual. High achievers have routines that signal their brains it's time to focus. Whether it's making a cup of coffee, listening to a specific playlist, or setting a timer, create a ritual that tells your brain it's time to work. 3. Set a clear intention. Know exactly what you're working on. Vague goals like, "I'll work on my business," don't work. Instead, be specific. "I'll write the first 1,000 words of my book." 4. Time block your work. Give yourself a set amount of time to complete a task. Parkinson's law states that work expands to fill the time available, so set strict time limits. The more you practice deep work, the easier it becomes. And once you master it, you'll achieve in a few hours what takes others weeks. The power of saying no: how to guard your focus like a billionaire. One of the greatest skills you can develop is the ability to say no. Every time you say yes to something unimportant, you're saying no to something important. Billionaires and top performers guard their time like it's their most precious resource, because it is. They don't fill their schedules with pointless meetings, unnecessary commitments, or obligations that don't serve their goals. If you want to protect your focus, say no to distractions. Stop checking social media mindlessly. Say no to unnecessary meetings. Not every email requires a response. Not every meeting requires your presence. Say no to toxic people. Energy-draining people steal your focus and time. Protect your mental space. Your time and focus are non-renewable resources. Spend them wisely. The world is divided into two types of people: the distracted many and the focused few. Most people will go through life reacting, letting their attention be controlled by external forces, and wondering why they never achieve their goals. But a small percentage, the focused few, will break free. If you want to be among the top 1% in your field, if you want to achieve results that most people only dream of, then mastering focus isn't optional, it's essential. Starting today, make a commitment. Reclaim your focus. Eliminate distractions. Say no to what doesn't serve you. Become intentional with your time. Do this, and you'll accomplish more in 1 year than most people do in a lifetime. Are you ready to step into the world of unstoppable focus? Your success depends on it. Chapter 5. The Secret Weapon of High Achievers: The Art of Self-Discipline. You've probably felt it before, that sudden surge of motivation, the kind that makes you want to transform your life overnight. Maybe it was after watching an inspiring video, reading a powerful book, or hearing about someone else's success. You told yourself, "This time, I'm really going to do it." And for a few days, maybe even a couple of weeks, you did. You woke up early, hit the gym, started that project, avoided distractions, and felt unstoppable. But then, almost without realizing it, something happened. One day you woke up and felt a little tired. You told yourself, skipping one day won't hurt. Then one day turned into 2, then 3. Soon you weren't just skipping. You were back to square one, feeling frustrated, wondering why you always seem to fall off track. The cycle repeats. And the worst part, each failure makes you trust yourself less. This is the harsh reality of motivation. It's unreliable. It comes in waves, lifting you up one moment and vanishing the next, leaving you stranded. And this is exactly why most people never achieve long-term success. They rely on motivation when what they truly need is self-discipline. Discipline is the invisible force behind every high achiever. It's the ability to show up even when you don't feel like it, to stick to the plan despite temptations, to do the work when no one is watching. While the majority of people are waiting for the next burst of motivation, the most successful individuals have already mastered the ability to push forward, rain or shine. This chapter will break down why self-discipline is your most powerful tool and how to develop it so you can break free from the cycle of failure once and for all. If you've ever wondered why some people seem to achieve so much while others struggle for years with little progress, this is the missing piece. The secret isn't talent. It isn't intelligence. It isn't even luck. It's the ability to be disciplined when motivation runs out. 1. The myth of motivation. Why it's failing. Most people believe motivation is the key to success. They think that if they could just feel more motivated, they would finally be able to take action. But motivation is a liar. It's fleeting, inconsistent, and dependent on external factors. You might wake up one day feeling inspired and ready to take on the world, but the next day, you're tired, overwhelmed, or just not in the mood. Motivation is like a fire fueled by excitement. It burns brightly at first, but quickly dies down if it's not constantly fed. This is why so many people start strong, but never finish. They believe the problem is with their motivation, so they keep searching for ways to stay inspired. They listen to motivational speeches, read self-help books, and seek out stories of success, hoping to recapture that initial spark. But no matter how many times they try, they eventually hit the same wall. The truth is, success isn't about how motivated you feel on any given day. It's about what you do when you don't feel like it. Self-discipline is the ability to keep going despite how you feel. It's the skill that separates those who achieve great things from those who only dream about them. If you keep waiting for motivation, you'll be stuck forever. The key is learning how to take action without needing motivation at all. 2. How self-discipline works. The science behind it. Self-discipline isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. It's like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. But just like muscles, if you don't use it, it weakens. At its core, self-discipline is about overriding short-term desires for long-term gains. Your brain is wired for immediate gratification. It wants pleasure now, not later. That's why it's easier to watch Netflix than to work on your goals, easier to sleep in than to hit the gym, and easier to scroll through social media than to read a book. Your brain doesn't care about your future success. It only cares about comfort in the present moment. But here's the good news. You can rewire your brain to favor discipline over instant gratification. Every time you choose discipline over temptation, you strengthen the neural pathways that make disciplined behavior easier in the future. At first, it feels difficult, but with consistency, it becomes second nature. The key is to start small and gradually increase your discipline over time. Just like you wouldn't go from lifting 0 weights to bench pressing 300 pounds overnight, you can't expect to become perfectly disciplined in a day. It's a process that requires practice, but once you develop it, you become unstoppable. The no excuse rule: how to eliminate the habit of justifying laziness. Excuses are the enemy of self-discipline. Every time you make an excuse, you reinforce the habit of avoiding discomfort. If you keep telling yourself, "I'll start tomorrow, I'm too tired today," or "It's just one time," you're training your brain to accept failure as normal. The most disciplined people have a simple rule: no excuses. They don't allow themselves to negotiate with laziness. They don't debate whether or not they feel like doing something. They just do it. To eliminate excuses, create a non-negotiable mindset. Instead of deciding each day whether or not you'll take action, make it automatic. If you've committed to working out, you work out no matter what. If you've decided to write every day, you write every day, even if you don't feel inspired. The moment you start making excuses, you start losing control. A useful trick? Don't think, just do. The longer you allow yourself to debate whether or not you should take action, the more likely you are to procrastinate. So, remove the decision-making process entirely. If it's on your schedule, it gets done. No discussion. 4. The pain of regret versus the pain of discipline. Here's a hard truth. You will experience pain either way. If you lack discipline, you'll feel the pain of regret, the disappointment of knowing you could have done better, but didn't. You'll feel it when you look back at the opportunities you wasted, the potential you never reached, the time you can't get back. The pain of regret is deep, long-lasting, and impossible to erase. On the other hand, discipline has its own pain, the temporary discomfort of pushing yourself when you don't feel like it. But unlike the pain of regret, this pain is short-lived and leads to something greater. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you move one step closer to the life you want. Every difficult decision, every moment of resistance, every small act of discipline compounds over time, creating results beyond what you thought was possible. So ask yourself, which pain do you want to live with? The pain of temporary effort or the pain of lifelong regret? Self-discipline isn't just about working hard. It's about creating a life of freedom. The more disciplined you are today, the more options you'll have in the future. The more you train yourself to stay focused, push through discomfort, and eliminate excuses, the more power you'll have over your life. Starting today, make a commitment. Stop relying on motivation. Stop making excuses. Stop giving yourself permission to fail. Instead, become the kind of person who does what needs to be done, no matter what. Because at the end of the day, success isn't about who has the most talent or the best opportunities. It's about who has the discipline to show up every single day and do the work. Chapter 6. The Ultimate Power Move: Mastering Consistency to Dominate Life. You've done it before. You started something new, whether it was a workout routine, a business idea, or a self-improvement habit, and for the first few days, you were on fire. You were unstoppable, filled with excitement and ambition. You told yourself, this time will be different. This time, I'll stick with it. But then, somewhere along the way, life got in the way. Maybe you got too busy. Maybe the results weren't coming fast enough. Maybe you just lost interest. And just like that, another goal slipped through your fingers. Now, take a step back and think about all the things you've started but never finished. If you had followed through on even half of them, where would you be today? How much progress would you have made? It's painful to think about, isn't it? But here's the brutal truth. Consistency is the single biggest factor that separates successful people from those who stay stuck. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's not intelligence. It's the ability to show up and put in the work day after day, even when you don't feel like it, even when you're tired, even when progress feels slow. The reason most people fail is not because they're incapable, but because they give up too soon. They expect instant results, and when they don't see them, they quit. But success isn't about making massive progress in a single day. It's about making small, steady improvements over a long period. And the best part? Once you master consistency, success becomes inevitable. If you've ever struggled to stick with something long enough to see real results, this chapter is going to change everything. By the time you finish reading, you'll understand exactly why consistency is your most powerful tool and how to use it to dominate every area of your life. 1. The hidden power of small, repeated actions. Most people believe that success comes from taking massive action. They think they need to work 18-hour days, make huge sacrifices, and push themselves to the limit. But in reality, success is the result of small actions, repeated consistently over time. It's not about going all in for a week or a month. It's about what you do every single day. Think about it like this. Imagine you have two people. One person reads for 20 minutes a day. The other person doesn't read at all. After one day, the difference between them is nothing. After a week, it's still barely noticeable. But after a year, one person has read dozens of books, while the other has read none. After 5 years, one person has gained an enormous amount of knowledge, while the other is exactly where they started. The same principle applies to fitness, business, relationships, and personal growth. The small choices you make daily, whether positive or negative, compound over time and create your future. If you improve by just 1% every day, you will be 37 times better after 1 year. That's the power of consistency. But the problem? Most people don't have the patience to stick with something long enough to see this compounding effect. They want results now. When they don't see immediate rewards, they assume it's not working and give up. They never realize that the biggest breakthroughs come from staying consistent long enough for the magic to happen. If you can shift your mindset to focus on long-term consistency rather than short-term intensity, you'll set yourself apart from 99% of people. Because while most people are busy chasing quick wins, you'll be quietly building unstoppable momentum. 2. Why you lose motivation and how to overcome it. One of the biggest reasons people struggle with consistency is that they rely too much on motivation. They start something new, feel excited at first, but the moment that excitement fades, they stop showing up. But here's what you need to understand. Motivation is temporary, but discipline and consistency are permanent. You will not always feel motivated. You will have days where you don't want to do the work, where you're tired, frustrated, or bored. If you let your emotions dictate your actions, you will never achieve anything significant. The secret is to stop making decisions based on how you feel and start making them based on what needs to be done. Here's how to break free from the motivation trap and stay consistent. Commit to a schedule, not a goal. Instead of saying, "I'll work out 3 times a week," say, "I will work out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 a.m. When you make something a part of your schedule, you remove the decision-making process and make it automatic. Use the 2-day rule. Never let yourself skip 2 days in a row. Missing 1 day is fine, but if you miss 2, you're building a new habit of quitting. Redefine success. Instead of focusing on big outcomes, focus on showing up. If your goal is to write a book, don't measure success by how many pages you finish. Measure success by whether you wrote today. If you stop relying on motivation and start relying on systems, you will never have to worry about staying consistent again. 3. How to create unbreakable habits that stick for life. Most people fail to stay consistent because they approach habits the wrong way. They try to force themselves to change overnight, using sheer willpower to stick with something new. But willpower is like a battery. It drains quickly. The key to making habits last is to make them so easy they feel effortless. Here's how to build habits that actually stick. 1. Start ridiculously small. If you want to start reading, don't commit to reading for an hour a day. Commit to reading 1 page a day. If you want to work out, start with just 1 push-up. Making habits easy in the beginning eliminates resistance. 2. Attach new habits to existing ones. The easiest way to create a new habit is to attach it to something you already do. For example, if you already drink coffee every morning, use that as a trigger to read for 5 minutes. If you brush your teeth every night, do 5 push-ups right after. 3. Use visual cues. Keep your habits visible. If you want to drink more water, keep a water bottle on your desk. If you want to play the guitar more, leave it in the middle of the room instead of in a case. The more visible a habit is, the more likely you are to do it. Track your progress. There's a psychological effect called the Seinfeld strategy, where you mark an X on a calendar every day you complete a habit. The goal is simple. Don't break the chain. Seeing your streak grow becomes motivation to keep going. By making your habits easy, obvious, and trackable, you remove the struggle of staying consistent and make progress automatic. If you take nothing else from this chapter, remember this. Success is not about intensity. It's about consistency. The people who achieve the most in life aren't the ones who work the hardest for a short period. They're the ones who show up every day no matter what. They don't wait for motivation. They don't let setbacks stop them. They don't quit just because progress feels slow. From now on, commit to playing the long game. Choose one thing you want to be consistent with and focus on doing it daily, even in small amounts. Don't chase fast results. Chase daily progress. Because over time, those small efforts will add up to something extraordinary. In the end, the choice is yours. Will you be like the majority, constantly starting and stopping, stuck in a loop of inconsistency? Or will you become one of the rare few who show up every day, build unstoppable habits, and dominate life? The answer to that question will determine your future. Chapter 7. The Hidden Formula of the 1%. How to Think and Act Like Ultra-Successful People. Have you ever looked at wildly successful people and wondered, what do they know that I don't? Why do some people seem to rise effortlessly, while others spend years struggling, barely making any progress? It's not just about money, intelligence, or connections, because if that were the case, every wealthy heir or genius would be dominating life. But they're not. There's something deeper at play, something hidden in plain sight. And the truth is, the ultra-successful, the top 1% in any field, think and act completely differently from the majority. They don't follow the rules that society teaches. They don't settle for what's given. They don't allow distractions to dictate their focus. They operate on a completely different level of mindset, habits, and execution. The real reason most people stay stuck in mediocrity is that they unknowingly follow a script that keeps them average. They think the way the masses think. They adopt limiting beliefs that keep them playing small. They follow routines that never lead to real breakthroughs. And as a result, they stay exactly where they are, watching others succeed while wondering why their own efforts aren't paying off. But here's the game changer. You don't have to be born into success to access this mindset. You don't need a privileged background, an Ivy League education, or a massive bank account. What you need is to learn the way the ultra-successful think and start applying those strategies to your own life. This chapter will break down the mindset shifts, habits, and decision-making frameworks that separate the top 1% from everyone else. If you absorb and apply what you're about to read, you will never think or operate the same way again. 1. The 1% think in terms of leverage, not just hard work. Most people believe that the only way to get ahead is to work harder. They think that if they just grind longer hours, push themselves to the limit, and hustle nonstop, they'll eventually break through. But this is a lie. The ultra-successful don't just work harder, they work smarter and with leverage. Leverage means doing more with less. It means using systems, tools, and people to multiply your results. It means understanding that brute force effort alone will never be enough. Think about this. If working hard was the only factor in success, then construction workers, factory employees, and janitors, some of the hardest working people in the world, would be the wealthiest. But they're not. Meanwhile, billionaires like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk aren't spending 16 hours a day doing manual labor. They've mastered leverage, using resources, teams, capital and technology to create exponential impact with minimal effort. The key to escaping the trap of average is to stop trading your time directly for money or progress. Instead, start asking, how can I multiply my results without multiplying my effort? This could mean building systems that automate repetitive tasks, delegating or outsourcing low-value work so you can focus on high-impact activities, investing in assets, stocks, real estate, businesses that generate income without requiring your time, learning high-leverage skills like sales, leadership, or coding that create disproportionate value. If you continue thinking in terms of direct effort, if I want to make more money, I need to work longer hours, you will always be limited by time. But if you shift to leverage-based thinking, your potential becomes limitless. 2. The 1% make decisions based on logic, not emotion. Average people make decisions emotionally. They let fear stop them from taking risks. They let temporary feelings dictate their actions. They procrastinate because they don't feel like it. They hesitate because they're afraid of failure. And as a result, they stay stuck in the same place year after year. The ultra-successful operate differently. They understand that feelings are unreliable, but logic and strategy win every time. Instead of asking, do I feel like doing this? They ask, what's the smartest move to make right now, regardless of how I feel? They understand that success requires making rational, strategic decisions instead of being driven by emotions. For example, they invest in themselves even when it's uncomfortable, because they know that education and skill building pay off long term. They take risks when the upside is greater than the downside, instead of staying paralyzed by fear. They cut out distractions without hesitation because they know that focus is more valuable than entertainment. If you want to elevate your thinking to the level of the ultra-successful, start practicing detachment from emotions when making decisions. Ask yourself, if I removed all feelings from this decision, what would the smartest move be? Then do that, whether you feel like it or not. 3. The 1% play the long game while everyone else chases short-term wins. Most people are addicted to instant gratification. They want quick results, fast money, and immediate rewards. And because of this, they make short-sighted decisions that sabotage their future. They quit when things get hard because they don't see immediate success. They jump from one idea to another, never sticking with anything long enough to see real progress. They waste money on things that feel good now, but don't create any lasting value. Meanwhile, the ultra-successful are masters of delayed gratification. They are willing to work on something for years before seeing big results. They make investments that won't pay off immediately, but will multiply over time. They stay patient when progress is slow because they understand compound growth. This is why Warren Buffett, one of the richest people in the world, became wealthy through long-term investing instead of chasing quick gains. Elite athletes train for years before they ever win championships. The best entrepreneurs reinvest their earnings into their businesses instead of spending it on flashy things. If you want to separate yourself from the majority, shift your mindset to long-term thinking. Every decision you make should be based on where you want to be 5 or 10 years from now, not just what feels good today. The longer you're willing to play the game, the greater your advantage over those who quit too soon. At the end of the day, success isn't about luck, talent, or even intelligence. It's about how you think and operate. The difference between the 1% and everyone else isn't that they were born special. It's that they've learned the mental frameworks that allow them to dominate. If you start applying these principles, thinking in terms of leverage, making rational decisions, and playing the long game, your entire life will change. You will stop making the mistakes that keep most people stuck. You will stop settling for mediocrity. You will start thinking, acting, and succeeding at a completely different level. The question is, will you keep thinking the way the average person thinks? Or will you start thinking like the 1%? The choice is yours. But know this, your mindset will determine your future. Choose wisely. Chapter 8. The Unshakable Confidence Blueprint. How to build a mindset that commands respect and success. What if I told you that the only thing separating you from the life you want isn't intelligence, luck, or talent, but confidence? Think about it. Every major breakthrough you've ever had in life came because, at some point, you believed in yourself enough to take action. Every opportunity you've missed, every dream you've let slip away, every time you hesitated when you should have moved forward, it all came down to one thing: a lack of confidence. Now, let's be honest. Have you ever looked at someone who just seems effortlessly confident, who walks into a room and instantly commands attention, who speaks their mind without second guessing, who seems immune to failure, and wondered, how do they do it? You might assume they were born that way, that confidence is some mysterious trait reserved for a lucky few. But that's not true. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. And the brutal truth? If you don't actively build confidence, you will spend your life being controlled by fear, insecurity, and self-doubt. You will let opportunities pass you by. You will let people walk all over you. You will settle for less than you deserve, not because you aren't capable of more, but because you don't believe you are. But here's the good news. Confidence is a skill. It can be learned, trained, and strengthened like a muscle. And once you master it, everything changes. You start taking action instead of hesitating. You start attracting the right people, opportunities, and success into your life. You become unshakable, no longer held back by fear, doubt, or external opinions. By the end of this chapter, you will understand the science of confidence, what it really is, why most people struggle with it, and how you can develop unbreakable self-belief that will transform every area of your life. This is the key to unlocking your full potential. Are you ready? 1. The hidden confidence killers. You don't even realize are destroying you. Before we talk about how to build confidence, we need to address something crucial: the confidence killers lurking in your daily life. These are the subtle habits, beliefs, and behaviors that quietly erode your self-belief without you even realizing it. The biggest one? Seeking external validation. Every time you let someone else's opinion define your worth, you are giving away your power. If you need approval to feel good about yourself, you will always be controlled by others. You will hesitate, shrink yourself, and play it safe because you're terrified of judgment. Confident people don't need external validation. They don't care if everyone likes them because they've already decided to like themselves. Another massive confidence killer? Comparing yourself to others. Social media makes this worse, constantly showing you highlight reels of people who seem to have perfect lives. But here's what most people don't realize. Confidence isn't built by measuring yourself against others. It's built by measuring yourself against who you were yesterday. When you focus on your own progress, instead of feeling insecure about someone else's success, you use it as inspiration to push yourself further. The third silent killer? Negative self-talk. Every time you tell yourself, "I'm not good enough, I'll never succeed. I don't deserve this," your brain believes you. You are literally programming yourself to fail. Confident people control their inner dialogue. They talk to themselves like they would a best friend, with encouragement, belief, and power. If you've been struggling with confidence, these hidden killers are the reason. But the good news? You can rewire your mind. You can take back control. And it starts now. 2. The secret formula to unshakable confidence. Confidence isn't about arrogance, pretending to be someone you're not, or faking it until you make it. Real confidence comes from competence and self-trust. It's knowing deep down that you can handle whatever life throws at you. Here's the secret formula. 1. Mastery creates confidence. The fastest way to build confidence is to get really good at something. The more skilled you become, the more natural confidence follows. This applies to every area of life, whether it's public speaking, social skills, business, fitness, or relationships. Identify the key areas where you want more confidence and start building mastery through consistent practice. 2. Expose yourself to fear. Avoiding what scares you only makes you weaker. Confident people don't wait until they feel ready. They act despite fear. If you're afraid of speaking up, start doing it more often. If you fear rejection, put yourself in situations where rejection is possible. Every time you face a fear and survive, your brain learns that fear has no real power over you. 3. Control your body language. The way you carry yourself directly affects how confident you feel. Stand tall, make eye contact, and take up space. Avoid nervous habits like fidgeting, slouching, or looking down. Studies show that powerful body language not only changes how others perceive you, but also changes how you perceive yourself. 4. Develop a winning internal dialogue. Confident people talk to themselves like champions. Instead of saying, "I hope I don't fail," they say, "I know I'll figure it out." Instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough," they tell themselves, "I am capable and I will prove it." Change the way you speak to yourself and your confidence will transform. 5. Keep the promises you make to yourself. Every time you set a goal and don't follow through, you lose trust in yourself. Confidence is built by doing what you said you'd do. If you commit to waking up early, wake up early. If you promise to hit the gym, hit the gym. When you develop a reputation with yourself as someone who follows through, your confidence becomes unshakable. 3. How to command respect and dominate. Any room confidence isn't just about how you feel. It's about how you make others feel. When you walk into a room, people can sense if you believe in yourself. And if you don't, they won't either. Here's how to instantly command respect. Speak with conviction. Never end your sentences like a question unless you're actually asking something. Own your words. Be comfortable with silence. Weak people feel the need to fill every pause. Strong people let their words breathe. Stop seeking approval. The moment you stop caring about impressing others, they will start respecting you. Make eye contact. Not in a creepy way, but in a way that says, "I see you and I am not afraid to be seen." Confidence is magnetic. It draws people in, opens doors, and changes the way the world responds to you. When you carry yourself with unshakable belief, people will start treating you differently, because confidence is power. The painful truth? The world does not reward insecurity. If you don't believe in yourself, why should anyone else? Confidence isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. It determines whether you take action or stay stuck, whether you seize opportunities or let them pass you by, whether you live life on your terms or settle for less. But today, you have a choice. You can continue doubting yourself, hesitating, and letting fear control you. Or you can start building the confidence that will change everything. You already have everything you need inside of you. The only question is, will you use it? Chapter 9. The Discipline Code: How to Develop the Unstoppable Focus and Self-Control that 99% of people lack. If you're reading this, chances are you've set goals before. Big, exciting goals. Maybe you wanted to build a successful business, transform your health, become financially independent, or master a skill that could change your life. You probably started with enthusiasm, fired up by motivation, but somewhere along the way, things changed. The fire faded. Distractions took over. Procrastination crept in. You found yourself making excuses, pushing things to tomorrow, and before you knew it, weeks, maybe even months, had passed without real progress. Sound familiar? You're not alone. This is the cycle that traps 99% of people. They set goals, get excited, and then, when motivation inevitably fades, they fall right back into old habits. And then they wonder why they're stuck. The truth is, success doesn't belong to the most motivated. It belongs to the most disciplined. Discipline is the key that separates those who achieve everything they set their minds to from those who spend their lives wishing they had. The most successful people in the world aren't the ones who always feel motivated. They're the ones who take action, even when they don't feel like it. They don't rely on fleeting emotions. They don't let distractions derail them. They don't let laziness win. They have trained themselves to do what needs to be done, no matter what. This chapter is going to change the way you think about discipline forever. You'll learn why most people fail to stay consistent, how to rewire your brain to crave discipline instead of distractions, and how to create a system that guarantees you follow through, even when every part of you wants to quit. If you master this, you will become unstoppable. Let's get started. 1. Why motivation is a lie and why it's keeping you stuck. Most people think they have a discipline problem, but what they really have is a motivation addiction. They believe they need to feel inspired to take action. They tell themselves, "I'll start working out when I feel ready. I'll work on my business when I'm in the right mood. I'll wake up early when I have more energy." And that's exactly why they never succeed. Motivation is temporary. It comes in waves. One day, you feel like you can take on the world, and the next, you don't even want to get out of bed. If your success depends on feeling inspired, you're doomed to fail. The truth is, the people who achieve extraordinary things don't rely on motivation at all. They operate on discipline, on the ability to do what they said they would do, whether they feel like it or not. Think about it. The best athletes don't skip training just because they don't feel like it. The most successful entrepreneurs don't stop working on their businesses because they're not in the mood. They show up every single day regardless of how they feel, because they understand that success is a result of consistency, not emotions. If you've been waiting for motivation to hit before taking action, you've been playing the wrong game. The real secret is to remove emotions from the equation entirely. Success is a habit, not a mood, and habits are built through discipline. 2. How to rewire your brain to love discipline instead of avoiding it. Most people view discipline as something painful, something they have to do, and that's exactly why they resist it. But what if I told you that you can train your brain to crave discipline? That instead of avoiding hard work, you can actually become addicted to it? Here's how it works. Your brain is designed to seek reward and avoid pain. Right now, every time you procrastinate, skip a workout, or indulge in distractions, your brain rewards you with a little hit of dopamine. That's why it feels so good to scroll social media instead of working on your goals. But the problem is, your brain is rewarding you for the wrong things. To develop unbreakable discipline, you need to reprogram your reward system. You need to start associating pain with laziness and pleasure with discipline. Here's how you do it. 1. Use the immediate consequence trick. Your brain only takes action when it feels an immediate consequence. Right now, skipping a workout doesn't feel like a big deal. But if you linked skipping a workout to a painful consequence, like giving $100 to a friend every time you missed a session, you would suddenly feel motivated to show up. Create a system where failing to be disciplined costs you something. 2. Reframe discomfort as a sign of growth. Instead of dreading hard work, start seeing it as proof that you're leveling up. Every time something feels difficult, remind yourself, this is what growth feels like. This is how I separate myself from the average. When you start linking discomfort to progress, discipline becomes a game instead of a burden. 3. Celebrate discipline, not just results. Most people only reward themselves when they hit a big goal. But to make discipline addictive, you need to celebrate the act of showing up, not just the outcome. Every time you follow through on a commitment, recognize that you just became more powerful. Build an identity around being someone who always follows through. If you apply these mindset shifts, discipline stops feeling like a chore and starts feeling like power. And when that happens, you become unstoppable. 3. The ultimate discipline system: how to follow through no matter what. The most disciplined people in the world don't rely on willpower alone. They have systems that make discipline automatic. If you want to guarantee that you follow through on your goals every single time, you need to build a system that removes decision-making, eliminates distractions, and makes success inevitable. Here's how to do it. 1. Eliminate decision fatigue. Every time you have to decide whether or not to take action, you create an opportunity for excuses. The solution? Remove decision-making entirely. Set up your workouts, work hours, or study sessions at the same time every day. Make it a rule, not a choice. 2. Use the 5-minute rule. The hardest part of any task is starting. Trick your brain by committing to just 5 minutes of action. Once you start, momentum will take over, and you'll keep going. 3. Create a no negotiation policy. The most disciplined people have rules they never break. Decide in advance what you will always do, whether you feel like it or not. Make it a non-negotiable. For example, I never skip 2 days in a row. I always wake up at 6 a.m. I always do what I say I'll do. 4. Set up accountability triggers. If no one is watching, it's easy to slack off. Find a system that forces you to stay on track. This could be a coach, a friend who checks in on you, or even a public commitment that puts your reputation on the line. If you implement these systems, you will no longer have to force yourself to be disciplined. It will become automatic. At the end of the day, your success will not be determined by how motivated you feel. It will be determined by how disciplined you are. If you are willing to do what others won't, if you are willing to show up every single day no matter what, you will achieve things that 99% of people never will. The question is, will you commit to discipline, or will you stay stuck in the cycle of inconsistency? The choice is yours. But know this, your future depends on it. Chapter 10. The Power of Relentless Execution: how to take action like a machine and achieve in months. What others take years to do, you set goals. You plan, you think about what you want. But let me ask you, how much of what you planned actually got done? How much closer are you to your dream today than you were 6 months ago? A year ago? If the answer is not much, there's a reason. It's not because you're not smart enough. It's not because you don't want it badly enough. It's because you're not executing at the level required to win. The biggest lie most people tell themselves is that they are working hard. But if you zoom in, what they are really doing is thinking about working hard, making lists, reading books, watching videos, getting lost in endless research, all while avoiding the one thing that actually creates results: relentless execution. Think about the people who achieve insane levels of success. The entrepreneurs who build million-dollar businesses from scratch, the athletes who dominate their sport, the artists who seem to pump out masterpiece after masterpiece. Do you really think they have some secret advantage? You don't. Number the truth is they just execute at a level that 99% of people won't. They don't waste time. They don't overthink. They don't wait until everything is perfect. They take massive, relentless action over and over and over again until they succeed. This chapter is going to change the way you approach action forever. If you've been stuck in a cycle of procrastination, if you've been busy but not productive, if you've been working hard but seeing no real progress, then what you need isn't more knowledge. What you need is a system for execution. a way to take insane levels of action so consistently that results become inevitable. By the time you finish reading, you'll have the blueprint. Now let's get to work. 1. The 3 deadly traps that keep you stuck in inaction. Most people fail to execute because they fall into one of 3 deadly traps. These traps feel like work, so they trick you into believing you're making progress. But in reality, they are keeping you stuck. Trap 1. The learning loop. You tell yourself that before you start, you need to learn more. So you read another book, watch another tutorial, take another course. And while education is important, the problem is you never actually move to execution. You keep gathering information, waiting for the moment when you feel ready. But that moment never comes. The only real learning happens through action. Stop consuming. Start executing. Trap 2. The perfectionist delay. You convince yourself that you can't start yet because it's not perfect. You want to launch your business, but your website isn't ready. You want to start posting content, but your videos aren't professional enough. You wait and tweak and polish, never realizing that perfect is the enemy of done. Nothing will ever be perfect. The fastest way to succeed is to start messy and improve along the way. Trap 3. The distraction addiction. You tell yourself you'll work after you check your phone real quick. Then suddenly, 30 minutes are gone. You sit down to focus, but your brain craves another hit of dopamine. So you check email, scroll social media, watch just one more video. Before you know it, the entire day has slipped away. Your attention is being hijacked, and without focus, execution is impossible. If you don't control your environment will control you. If you recognize yourself in any of these traps, don't panic. You're not alone. But now you have no excuse. Awareness is the first step, and now it's time to break free. 2. The relentless execution system. How to take massive action. Every single day, the highest achievers don't wait for motivation. They don't rely on willpower. They have a system, a structure that guarantees execution no matter what. If you want to operate at peak productivity, follow this system step by step, and you will be blown away by how much you accomplish. Step 1. Ruthless prioritization, the 80-20 power move. Not all tasks are created equal. The secret to relentless execution isn't doing more. It's doing the right things with insane focus. Most people waste 80% of their time on tasks that don't actually move the needle. Instead, use the 80-20 rule. Identify the 20% of actions that will generate 80% of your results. Eliminate or delegate everything else. Attack those high-impact actions with obsessive focus. Every morning, ask yourself, if I could only complete one thing today, what would have the biggest impact on my future? Then do that first. Step 2. The no 0 days rule. Never miss a day. Momentum is everything. If you stop, it becomes 10 times harder to start again. The solution? Never let a day go by without making progress. Even if you can only put in 10 minutes, never let yourself do nothing. Small daily progress compounds into massive, long-term success. Step 3. The time-blocking domination method. Most people fail because they rely on a to-do list instead of a schedule. The highest performers don't find time to work on their goals. They make time. Use time blocking. Set a fixed time every day for deep work. Treat it like an unbreakable appointment. Eliminate all distractions during that time. No phone, no social media, no interruptions. If you don't schedule execution, it won't happen. Period. Step 4. The 2-minute rule to crush procrastination whenever you feel resistance to starting. Use the 2-minute rule. Tell yourself, I only have to do this for 2 minutes. Start writing, Start working out. Start coding. Just for 2 minutes. Once you begin, the hardest part is over. 99% of the time, you'll keep going. Action creates momentum. Step 5. The win the morning, win the day routine. Your first hour determines your entire day. Instead of reaching for your phone, use your morning to move your body, work out, stretch, walk. Plan your top priorities. Work on your most important task before checking email or social media. Start strong, and execution becomes effortless. 3. How to keep going. When you want to quit, there will be days when you don't feel like it. Days when motivation is gone, progress is slow, and doubt creeps in. That's when most people quit. But the difference between those who succeed and those who fail is this: winners execute anyway. How? By understanding that discipline is a muscle. The more you push through resistance, the stronger it gets. On the hardest days, lean on your system. Don't negotiate with yourself. Just show up. Feel unmotivated? Do the first 2 minutes. Feel overwhelmed? Simplify. Do the most important task only. Feel like quitting? Remember why you started. Every time you push through, you rewire your brain to become the type of person who takes action no matter what. And once that identity is locked in, nothing can stop you. You now have the ultimate execution system. You know how to break free from procrastination, prioritize what actually matters, and take action at a level 99% of people never will. But none of that matters unless you use it. Your success won't come from what you've read. It will come from what you do next. The question is, will you take action today, or will you stay stuck? The choice is yours. But remember, your future is waiting. Chapter 11. The Mental Toughness Blueprint. How to build an unbreakable mindset that guarantees success. Let's be real for a second. The reason most people fail isn't because they're not smart enough. It's not because they lack resources or opportunities. It's because they are mentally weak. The moment things get hard, they crumble. When they face obstacles, they quit. When they don't see immediate results, they get discouraged and stop trying. And that is exactly why they stay stuck, year after year, dream after dream, failure after failure. Look around you. Most people aren't living the lives they want. They're settling. They're struggling. They're making excuses for why they haven't achieved their goals. But the truth is, every single successful person you admire has faced hardships, setbacks, and pain. The difference? They didn't break. They didn't let their emotions control them. They didn't let fear stop them. They didn't let failure define them. If you want to succeed at an elite level, if you want to achieve things that 99% of people never will, you need an unbreakable mindset. You need to develop mental toughness so strong that nothing can shake you. No failure, no rejection, no self-doubt. Because here's the reality. The world doesn't care about your excuses. It only rewards results. This chapter is going to teach you how to develop bulletproof mental resilience. You will learn how to train your mind to handle pressure, eliminate self-doubt, and push through even the toughest situations. By the time you finish reading, you will have the tools to become unstoppable, but only if you apply them. So, let's get to work. 1. The hard truth about mental toughness and why most people fail. Mental toughness isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. But most people never develop it because they are trapped in a mindset of comfort, excuses, and weakness. They make 3 deadly mistakes that destroy their ability to succeed before they even start. Mistake 1. They avoid hardship instead of embracing it. The average person wants life to be easy. They want instant success, instant gratification, instant results. But the truth is, nothing great comes without struggle. Growth only happens through pain. The strongest people aren't the ones who had the easiest lives. They're the ones who went through hell and kept going. If you avoid hardship, you will always be weak. The secret to mental toughness? Learn to seek discomfort. Run toward challenges. Train yourself to love struggle because that's where real power is built. Mistake 2. They let their feelings control their actions. Most people only take action when they feel like it. If they're tired, they sleep in. If they're unmotivated, they procrastinate. If something is uncomfortable, they quit. But the reality is, your feelings don't matter. Success doesn't care if you're tired. It doesn't care if you're stressed. It doesn't care if you're scared. The only thing that matters is what you do despite those feelings. Mistake 3. They break under pressure instead of rising to it. When things go wrong, the weak complain. They make excuses. They blame circumstances. The mentally tough, they take ownership. They don't waste time feeling sorry for themselves. They don't look for sympathy. They see every challenge as a test, and they pass that test by showing up and doing the work, no matter what. If you're guilty of these mistakes, it's time to change. Because mental toughness isn't just about enduring hardship. It's about becoming the kind of person who thrives under pressure. 2. How to develop a mindset that can't be broken. Mental toughness is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. If you want to build an unbreakable mind, you need to develop the habits, perspectives, and beliefs that allow you to stay strong, no matter what happens. Step 1. Train yourself to handle pain without complaining. Pain is inevitable, but how you respond to it is a choice. Weak people complain, whine, and feel sorry for themselves. Tough people? They embrace pain because they know it's making them stronger. Next time you feel discomfort, whether it's physical, emotional, or mental, train yourself to lean into it instead of running away. Step 2. Control your thoughts, or they will control you. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have, but it can also be your greatest enemy. The thoughts you allow in your head determine your actions, your confidence, and your success. If you constantly tell yourself, "I can't do this," "I'm not good enough," "This is too hard," you are programming yourself to fail. The solution? Take control of your internal dialogue. When a negative thought enters your mind, replace it with a powerful one. I don't quit when it's hard. I thrive in the challenge. I am in control of my emotions, not the other way around. No matter what happens, I find a way to win. Rewire your brain to expect success, and you will start achieving it. Step 3. Put yourself in difficult situations on purpose. If you always avoid discomfort, you will always be weak. The only way to become mentally strong is to intentionally expose yourself to difficulty. Train yourself to do hard things every single day. Take cold showers. Push your body in workouts. Work longer hours than you feel like. Wake up early when you want to sleep in. Every time you overcome discomfort, you build mental armor that makes you stronger. Step 4. Develop an unshakable self-identity. The strongest people in the world don't just act tough. They believe they are tough. They don't just take action. They see themselves as warriors who never back down. If you want to develop mental toughness, you need to create an identity that aligns with that mindset. Tell yourself every day, "I am someone who never quits, no matter what. I am relentless in my pursuit of success. I thrive under pressure because I am built for this." When you shift your identity, your actions will follow. 3. How to stay strong. When life punches you in the face, at some point, life will test you. You will face setbacks, failures, heartbreak, rejection. Most people break, but you won't, because now you know the truth. Pain is part of the process. Quitting is never an option. You have everything you need to push through. When things get hard, remember why you started. Remember that every hardship is a test, and passing that test brings you closer to the life you want. No matter what happens, you keep going, because that's what mentally tough people do. There are two types of people in this world. The first group lets fear, pain, and struggle break them. They make excuses, they give up, they settle for less than they're capable of. These are the people who spend their lives wishing they had done more. The second group, they don't break. They don't make excuses. They don't let failure stop them. They take ownership of their lives. They develop unshakable resilience, and they succeed because they refuse to accept anything less. The question is, which one are you going to be? Mental toughness is a choice. Make the right one. Chapter 12. The Relentless Pursuit of Mastery. How to become the best at what you do and dominate your field. Most people spend their lives being average at everything they do. They never truly master anything. They dabble. They try something for a few months, lose interest, and move on to the next shiny thing. They never go deep, never commit, never push past the discomfort of true mastery. And that's why they never stand out. They blend into the noise. They become another forgettable name in an ocean of mediocrity. But think about the people who own their industries, the ones who are at the top of their game, the Michael Jordans, the Elon Musks, the Beyoncés, the Steve Jobs of the world. What do they all have in common? They are relentless in their pursuit of mastery. They don't just participate in their field, they dominate it. They don't just learn the basics and stop there. They go deeper than anyone else is willing to go. They commit to lifelong excellence in a way that most people will never understand. If you want to be successful, truly successful, you need to make a decision today. Are you going to be average, or are you going to be great? Because the truth is, mastery is a choice. It's not about talent. It's not about luck. It's about whether or not you are willing to put in the insane level of effort required to rise to the top. This chapter is your roadmap. If you've ever wondered why you haven't reached your full potential yet, why you're not excelling at the level you know you're capable of, this is why. By the end of this chapter, you will have a clear step-by-step process for becoming world-class in whatever you choose to do. But you have to commit, because mastery isn't for the weak, it's for the obsessed. The brutal truth about mastery and why most people will never achieve it. The reason most people never become truly great at anything is because mastery is painful. It's not fun. It's not exciting. It's not glamorous. It's boring, repetitive, frustrating work that requires years of intense focus. And in a world where people are addicted to instant gratification, very few are willing to endure that level of commitment. Most people want success, but they don't want the tedious process of getting there. They want the rewards, but they're not willing to sit alone for hours refining their craft. They want recognition, but they won't do the work when nobody is watching. And that is why they never become great. Here's the truth. You are not entitled to success. You have to earn it through relentless execution. If you're not willing to put in more effort than 99% of people, then you will never be better than them. You will be one of them, mediocre, forgettable, lost in the crowd. Mastery requires a complete shift in how you think about success. Instead of chasing quick wins, you need to play the long game. Instead of seeking motivation, you need to rely on discipline. Instead of expecting results overnight, you need to fall in love with the process. The only way to truly master something is to devote yourself to it with an intensity that most people would call insane. And if that scares you, good. Because mastery is not for everyone. It's only for the few who are willing to do whatever it takes. 2. The Mastery Framework. How to become the best in your field. If you are serious about becoming world-class, you need a clear strategy. You can't just work hard and hope for the best. You need a structured, proven process for developing your skills and pushing past the levels where most people stop. Step 1. Pick your obsession and go all in. The first mistake most people make is trying to master too many things at once. They spread themselves too thin, bouncing from one interest to the next. But the greatest performers in history obsess over one thing for decades. Pick your craft, pick your industry, pick your skill, and decide that you will master it no matter what. Once you've made that choice, you must eliminate everything that doesn't support it. You don't have time for distractions. You don't have time for hobbies that don't align with your mission. Every action you take should move you closer to mastery. Step 2. Master the fundamentals, then go beyond them. Most people fail because they want to skip the basics. They chase advanced techniques before they have truly mastered the foundation. But every world-class performer, whether in business, sports, music, or art, has an obsession with the fundamentals. Before you try to innovate, before you try to get creative, before you try to put your own spin on it, you must drill the basics until they become second nature. This means endless repetition, thousands of hours of practice, breaking down the smallest details and improving them relentlessly. But true mastery doesn't stop at the fundamentals. Once you have a solid foundation, you must push beyond what's been done before. You must study the best in your field, then find ways to surpass them. The top 1% and don't just copy, they innovate. Step 3. Create an insane training routine and stick to it. You cannot achieve mastery without a structured training system. You need a daily routine that forces you to improve every single day. Deliberate practice. Focus on the areas where you are weakest and attack them until they become strengths. Extreme repetition. The best in the world do the same thing thousands of times until perfection is automatic. Brutal feedback. Seek out criticism. Learn from mentors. Tear apart your weaknesses and fix them aggressively. Mastery is not about talent. It's about showing up every single day and putting in the work. Most people won't do this. That's why most people aren't great. Step 4. Build relentless discipline and never stop improving. The final key to mastery is never becoming complacent. Most people stop improving once they reach a certain level. They get comfortable. They stop pushing. And that's when they lose. If you truly want to dominate your field, you must adopt a lifelong mindset of improvement. Every day, ask yourself, what did I learn today that I didn't know yesterday? What weaknesses am I working on right now? How can I push myself beyond my current limits? The greatest in the world never stop learning, never stop training, never stop refining their skills. They treat every day like it's day one. Mastery is not easy. It is not fun. It is not convenient. It is a brutal, relentless, obsessive process that most people will never be willing to endure. And that's why most people will never be great. But you are not most people. If you have made it this far, then you already know that you are capable of more. You know that you were not born to be average. You know that deep down, you have the potential to become truly world-class. The only question left is, are you willing to do what it takes? Most people won't. They will settle. They will give up when it gets hard. They will let comfort win. But you won't. Because you refuse to be average. Mastery is waiting for you. Now go earn it. Chapter 13. The 1% Rule. How small daily improvements make you unstoppable. What if I told you that everything you've been taught about success is wrong? That the people who achieve the highest levels of greatness, the top 1% in business, sports, science, and creativity, don't get there through huge, dramatic changes overnight? That the biggest transformations, the most mind-blowing achievements, and the seemingly superhuman skills are not the result of sudden breakthroughs or once-in-a-lifetime talent, but something much, much simpler. Most people believe that success comes from massive action, from taking huge leaps, from working harder than everyone else all at once. And while hard work is important, It's not the real reason why the best become the best. The truth is much more subtle. So subtle, in fact, that most people ignore it. The real secret to success? The 1% rule. The idea is simple. If you improve by just 1% every single day, the results over time will be exponential. That tiny effort, that small push, that slight improvement, it compounds. It builds on itself. And before you know it, you are light years ahead of everyone else. But here's the problem. Most people never apply this rule. They look for shortcuts. They want immediate results. They get impatient. They do something for a few days, don't see progress, and quit. And that's why they fail. Because success isn't about what you do once. It's about what you do every single day without fail, even when nobody is watching. By the end of this chapter, you will understand exactly how to apply the 1% rule in your life. You will have a clear step-by-step process for using this principle to master any skill, build insane levels of discipline, and create unstoppable momentum toward your goals. If you commit to this, your life will never be the same. 1. Why small daily improvements are more powerful than huge efforts. Most people fail at self-improvement because they think too big and too short-term. They believe success comes from extreme action, from 10-hour workdays, from pushing themselves until they collapse. But that approach is unsustainable. Look at the people who set New Year's resolutions. They start off strong, hitting the gym every day, working on their goals obsessively. But within a few weeks, they burn out. Why? Because they relied on motivation instead of habits. They tried to do too much too soon instead of focusing on tiny, consistent gains. Now compare that to someone who commits to just 1% improvement every day. Maybe on day 1, they only work out for 5 minutes. Maybe they read just 1 page of a book. Maybe they practice their skill for just 10 minutes. It doesn't seem like much, but the difference is that they do it every single day without fail. And here's where the magic happens. After 1 year, they are 37 times better than when they started. After 2 years, they are hundreds of times better. After 5 years, they are unrecognizable. This is the power of compounding improvement. The people who dominate their fields don't become great overnight. They build their skills little by little, day after day, until they reach a level that most people can't even comprehend. The lesson here? Forget trying to change your life overnight. Instead, focus on small, consistent actions. The results will shock you. 2. The science of compounding. Why tiny gains lead to massive success. To understand why the 1% rule works, let's look at how compounding functions in other areas of life. The power of compounding in finance. If you invest $100 and it grows by 1% every day, it doesn't just increase by $1 each day. Instead, the new amount gets 1% added to it as well, and then again the next day, and so on. Over time, this leads to exponential growth. What starts as small, barely noticeable changes suddenly explodes into huge gains. The same principle applies to your skills, knowledge, and habits. If you improve by 1% today, then 1% more tomorrow, and keep going, your abilities don't just grow, they multiply. Why small gains beat big, inconsistent efforts? Most people rely on random bursts of motivation. They work hard one day, then slack off the next. They cram study sessions instead of learning a little bit every day. They go on extreme diets instead of making small, sustainable changes. And then they wonder why they never get long-term results. But the truth is, massive, inconsistent action doesn't work. What works is relentless consistency. Reading 10 pages a day beats reading 100 pages once a month. Doing 10 push-ups every day beats going to the gym once a week. Writing 100 words daily beats waiting for inspiration to write an entire chapter. This is why the 1% rule is so powerful. It allows you to build unstoppable momentum without burning out. 3. How to apply the 1% rule in your life, step-by-step guide. Now that you understand the power of small daily improvements, let's break down exactly how you can use the 1% rule to transform your life. Step 1. Pick one area to improve. The first mistake people make is trying to improve everything at once. They try to get fit, read more, build a business, learn a language, all at the same time. This leads to overwhelm and failure. Instead, start with one key area that will have the biggest impact on your life. Ask yourself, what's the one skill that will give me the highest return on investment? What's one habit that, if I mastered it, would change everything? Where am I currently weakest, and how can I turn it into a strength? Pick one thing and commit to improving it by 1% every single day. Step 2. Set a daily minimum action. Your daily action should be so small that it's impossible to fail. If you want to read more, commit to reading just 1 page a day. If you want to get fit, start with 5 push-ups a day. If you want to write a book, aim for just 50 words a day. The key is to make the habit effortless. Most people fail because they set goals that require too much energy. Instead, make your action so easy that skipping it feels ridiculous. Step 3. Track your progress and stay consistent. You need a system to keep yourself accountable. Whether it's a habit tracker, a journal, or an app, track your streak. Seeing your progress builds motivation and reinforces the habit. If you miss a day, don't miss 2. Get back on track immediately. Focus on consistency over intensity. Never break the chain. Treat it like brushing your teeth. It's just part of your daily life. Step 4. Let the gains compound over time. Once you've built momentum, you will start to see massive results. That's when you level up. Increase your challenge slightly. Go from 1 push-up to 5, from 10 words to 100, from 1 page to 10. The key is to keep growing step by step until your improvement becomes unstoppable. Right now, you have a choice. You can keep looking for shortcuts, keep trying to change everything overnight, and keep failing like 99% of people. Or you can commit to the 1% rule, the method that has created the greatest minds, the best athletes, the most successful entrepreneurs in the world. The next year will pass whether you take action or not. Where will you be 365 days from now? The answer depends on whether you choose to get just 1% better every day. Chapter 14. The Ultimate Competitive Edge. How to stay ahead of 99% of people for life. Let's be brutally honest for a moment. You've come this far. You've absorbed the principles, the mindset shifts, the strategies that separate the top 1% from the rest. But here's a harsh reality. Most people never understand. Getting ahead in life is one thing, but staying ahead is what truly separates the great from the forgotten. Look around. How many people have tasted success only to fall back into mediocrity? Athletes who dominated for a season, then vanished. Entrepreneurs who built million-dollar businesses, then lost it all. Creators who exploded in popularity, then faded into irrelevance. The world is full of people who made it once, but couldn't sustain it. Why? Because they got comfortable. They stopped doing the things that made them successful in the first place. They hit a level of achievement and thought, I've made it. And that's when they started to decline. They stopped learning. They stopped pushing themselves. They stopped improving. If you don't want to be another one of those temporary success stories, if you want to stay ahead of 99% of people for the rest of your life, you need to understand this. Complacency is the enemy. The second you stop growing, you start dying. This final chapter is not just about winning the game of success. It's about staying at the top. It's about becoming the kind of person who never fades, never slows down, and never stops leveling up. If you apply what I'm about to share, You will never have to worry about falling behind, losing momentum, or becoming irrelevant. Because true success isn't about reaching the top. It's about staying there. The number one reason why people lose their edge. The biggest mistake people make after achieving success is shifting their mindset from growth to maintenance. Instead of playing to win, they start playing not to lose. Instead of innovating, they get comfortable with their past achievements. Instead of staying hungry, they settle into autopilot mode. And then, slowly but surely, they start falling behind. Look at the most dominant figures in any industry. The athletes who stay on top for decades, the billionaires who build multiple empires, the thinkers who remain relevant generation after generation. What do they all have in common? They never stop reinventing themselves. LeBron James didn't stay at the top for 20 years by relying on talent. He kept adapting, evolving his game, improving his body, and outworking younger competitors. Elon Musk didn't stop after PayPal. He kept pushing into electric cars, rockets, AI, and beyond. Warren Buffett didn't stop learning after he became a millionaire. Even in his 90s, he still reads for hours every day. They never got comfortable. They never stopped growing. And that's why they never lost their edge. If you want to stay ahead of 99% of people, you must treat every day like you're still climbing, even when you've already reached the top. The Forever Student Mindset: How to Keep Growing. No matter how successful you become, the moment you think you know it all, you've already started to lose. The moment you believe you've mastered your field, you've already fallen behind. The key to staying ahead of 99% of people for life is to never stop learning, never stop evolving, and never stop challenging yourself. How do you do this? By adopting the Forever Student Mindset. Stay curious. The most successful people are the most curious. They ask questions. They challenge the status quo. They never assume they have all the answers. Surround yourself with people who challenge you. If you are always the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. You need mentors, peers, and even competitors who push you beyond your comfort zone. Never rely on yesterday's success. What worked for you last year might not work today. The world is always changing, and you need to change with it. Embrace discomfort. Growth only happens when you are outside your comfort zone. The moment things start feeling easy, it's time to push yourself harder. The greats never stop being students of the game. If you want to stay ahead forever, you must commit to learning forever. The discipline of high performers: How to maintain ruthless consistency for life. Most people can work hard for a few months. Some can even grind for a few years. But very few people can maintain insane levels of discipline for life. And that is exactly why they fade into mediocrity. The top 1% are relentless. They have routines, habits, and systems in place that keep them sharp, no matter how successful they get. The non-negotiable habits of lifelong high performers. The relentless daily routine. The most successful people do not rely on motivation. They have systems that force them to stay disciplined. The 80-20 rule. They focus on the few key activities that produce the biggest results and eliminate distractions ruthlessly. The mental toughness edge. They know that emotions are temporary, so they don't make decisions based on how they feel. They stick to the plan, no matter what. The power of reflection. Every week, every month, they analyze their progress, adjust their strategies, and find ways to improve. If you want to stay ahead, you need ruthless consistency. Not for a few weeks, not for a few years. For life. 4. The ultimate question: who are you becoming? At the end of the day, staying ahead of 99% of people isn't about tricks, hacks, or temporary motivation. It's about one thing: who are you becoming every single day? Success is not a goal. It is a lifestyle. It is not something you achieve once. It is something you live, breathe, and embody every single day. So, ask yourself, are you constantly pushing your limits or settling for what's comfortable? Are you waking up hungry for more or getting complacent with past success? Are you becoming the best version of yourself every day, or are you letting yourself slip? The hard truth is that success isn't something you can win once and keep forever. If you're not growing, you're dying. If you're not learning, you're falling behind. If you're not improving, someone else is. So, what's next for you? You've come to the end of this book. You now have all the tools to think, act, and dominate like the top 1%. But reading this isn't enough. You have to execute. You have to commit. You have to prove to yourself that you are one of the rare few who will actually apply what they've learned. Most people will close this book and go back to their old habits. Will you? Or will you use this knowledge to build a life so legendary that 99% of people will look at you and wonder how you did it? The choice is yours. But remember this, the greatest never stop. Neither should you. Now, go become unstoppable.